Well, it's been about 18 months that I've had my S2000. It's a 2003. Bought it, I guess it was I guess it was actually early March of 2017. And I've had put about 4,000 miles on it in that time. It's now got almost 16,000 miles on the odometer. I wanted to make a little video. It's not going to be one of these, things I hate or things I love about my car. Rather, it's going to be what I intended it to be is something about my observations about the car since I've had it. Generally speaking, I like it. Actually, not generally, I like it a lot. It's a great car. It's a great sports car. It's not a great car for everybody. A little bit about myself. I'm retired, living in a small town in Texas Hill Country. Not a lot of traffic and great roads in the area. I've got some driving videos of the car. But anyway, so for that it's great. Before I retired, I lived in a large city. And I have to admit, for that kind of area, it's probably not the greatest car in the world. Some of the observations people have made about the car over the years, or the videos and reviews I've seen, is some things I wanted to talk about, and a thing or two that maybe hasn't been discussed that much. First of all, to me, it's got plenty of room. I fit in it just fine. I'm 6'2" and about 170 pounds, and I have no problem with it. Now, typically when I drive it with the top down. But even with the top up, the car has plenty of headroom for me. I have no problem getting in and out. The fact that it does not have an adjustable steering wheel, either for length or for angle, doesn't bother me at all. I seem to fit in it just fine. Doesn't bother me. In fact, years ago, I used to regularly autocross my Corvette, which it sits beside right now. It's over there. But anyway, I had to take the tops off my Corvette to fit in it with my helmet on. Don't have to do that with the S2000, even if I leave the top up. I have plenty of headroom, which seems kind of remarkable, but it's true. Both cars are pretty much stock. Well, the S2000 is totally stock. The interior on the Corvette is totally stock also. But anyway, I don't intend to modify the car in any way. I may change my mind at some point in the future, but to me, it doesn't really need to be modified. I don't intend to autocross it. Like I said, I'm retired. I'm in my 60s, and I did successfully, or fairly successfully, autocross my Corvette. Won some events, placed in a lot of events, and did fairly well and enjoyed it a lot. But I have to admit, my reactions are not what they used to be 35, 40 years ago. And living where I do now, I get plenty of entertainment, driving it on the highways and byways around here. So another thing I've heard people complain about with a car is that the sound system or the radio is not very good. And to me, it sounds fine. Grew up on 60s era rock and roll music and stuff like that, and I admit doesn't play very loud when you're going down the highway with the top down, but it doesn't bother me at all. The car is remarkably tight. It's got very little in the way of the rattle. Well, it doesn't have any rattle, so you do hear a few sounds where the leather seats rub against something or another. But generally, it's very, very nice inside. Particularly for a sports car, a convertible sports car at that. Another thing that is talked about considerably is the lack of storage space. Again, this is not anything that bothers me. It's not my only car. So, it's not my daily driver, even though on a daily basis I don't go anywhere if I don't have to or don't feel like it. So to me, it's got plenty of storage space. In fact, in some respects, I'm glad I don't have much storage space in it because, my wife and I go out. She wants to go look at antiques and whatnot and things like that. And this is a great car for that because you can't buy much. You can't fit much in it. And to me, that's an advantage, not a disadvantage. I know that sounds a little weird, but that's the way I look at it anyway. So that's a good thing. There is, as you can tell, or hopefully you can tell, my top is down, and well, obviously it's down, but I have this cover, this tonneau cover that goes on the back. Now, I really like it like that. It covers up the convertible mechanism. It keeps a lot of junk from getting in there, as you're going down the highway, or, leaves don't get in there, that sort of thing. One thing is that the cover is, at least for me anyhow, and I have fairly long, and not terribly fat fingers, and it's not the easiest thing to put on or take down. There may be a secret, but to me, it's got 4 snaps. The ones in the inside the door are fairly easy to get to. Let me see. I'm gonna get my. Oops, I have them right here. Get my key. I didn't realize it was locked, but. This strap right here is easy to get to. However, the one down here, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but these are, to me, very difficult to get to, whether you're putting the cover on or taking it off. There's times I'm able to do it fairly quickly, but there's other times I'm not. It's just, I don't know, maybe I'm just clumsy or whatever, but in those times I just just stick with it until it's done. The only problem that I see is, well, I did want to talk about the top a little bit. I like the top. It works very well. There's no issues with it. It's in good shape. The straps are good and tight and in excellent shape. And it operates just as advertised. It's for a power folding top. It's quick, it's easy, and whatnot. What I guess I don't really understand is why Honda decided to make it a power top. I mean, my brother has a Miata MX-5. In fact, he's on his second one, and both of those cars had, they have manual tops. They're incredibly easy to operate. I mean, I think the advertised time this one takes to put up and take down is like 6 seconds, which is quick, and it works very, very well, like I said. But my brother's car, the Miatas, I mean, you can do them in 2 seconds or less. There's just absolutely nothing to it. There may be a reason why Honda designed it as an electric top. I really don't know. But to me, it's it's something not really necessary. I mean, I can easily sit in the car and reach back there and put the top up and down. Not a problem. So, I've always been kind of curious about that, but it's what it is. What it is. Other than that, that's kind of the only. I hesitate to use the word negative when it comes to the car. It's really not a negative, but it just kind of begs the question of why? What's the matter with a manual top instead of an electric top? But anyway, I digress a little bit. As you can probably tell, this is an AP1. I did want an AP1. because I wanted the engine with the 9,000 RPM red line. That's one of the things that makes the car unique. One of the criticisms I've heard is, well, you know, the car is, you know, horsepower comes on way high in the rev range. To me, that's very desirable. I really like that a lot. You know, there's no torque at the low end, that's true, but that means to drive it, you really got to drive it. And that's, to me, is a lot of fun. So, you know, it requires a lot of attention to get the most out of it. And to me, that's why I own it, or that's one of the reasons I own it. The other thing that I find desirable about the AP1 is, even though they're considered tail happy or, you know, prone to, you know, oversteer, the other thing, and that's true to some extent. My Corvette was prone to oversteer also. In fact, both of these cars are basically mid-engine cars. I know nobody thinks of a Corvette like that, but the engine in my Corvette sits behind the front axle in total, and it does in the S2000 also. Anyway, when you're driving, you know, that, oh, the other thing about the AP1 is it has the quicker steering ratio. When they came out with the AP2, the steering ratio was slightly slowed down, and they only brought back the quicker steering ratio when they went to the came out with the CR version in 2008. So I find that very desirable. I like that a lot. I think it's you know, it makes it more twitchy, but hey, that's part of the fun. You know, like I said, I like a car that's what I consider a driver's car. In fact, back in the day, and I'm not going to quote this exactly right, but because I can't remember, but back one day, I think it was Motor Trend did a car review of at the time an LT1 Corvette, which was a solid lifter cam 350, and they said something to the effect that it's a car that demands your total attention and will not demand your total attention all of the time, every time, or something, some words to that effect. And I would put the S2000 in that same category. It's a very intense car. In fact, even though this did not originate with me, I like the saying, you know, it's the kind of car, I wanted the kind of car that if you run over a dime in the highway, you can tell if it's heads or tails. And if it's heads, I want to know when and where it was minted. So, you know, so I like the road feel. I like the intensity of the car. And to me, that's just what makes the car what it is. Anyway, I don't know, this I'm gonna guess be done with this video, but just wanted to give you an 18-month update. I do have a number of driving videos out there where I'm just driving through the countryside. My wife has taken the video, or, you know, and just me sitting there driving, which was great. And I do have another short video showing the car with the hood open and so forth. But you know, hopefully we'll keep the car a long time. And like I said, I don't plan to autocross it because I don't think nowadays I could be successful at that. And I guess I don't really have the desire to do it. I'm driving in the country down the winding roads and on the interstate, which very close to my house here, is a great experience. Anyway, y'all take care. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.